And now, making his way to the podcast studio all the way from Sacramento, California, he eats, sleeps, and breathes pro wrestling. He is the best self-proclaimed pro wrestling analyst in the world. Wrestling is still real to him, and he is here to keep good wrestling alive. He is the host of Snug Wrestling Podcast, the one, the only Edgar Avila.
Another great Saturday of wrestling, another great episode of AEW Collision. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Snug Wrestling. This is Edgar. Some interesting events went down at AEW Collision. We had some great tag team action at the main event. Billy Gunn is teasing a potential retirement, and Ricky Starks gets another W over CM Punk. Thanks to everyone that's been hitting me up on my socials and reaching out, and everyone that's just been listening overall. Please be sure to hit me up at Snug Wrestling on all of my socials. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You guys are the best. And I love engaging with all of you. So Ricky Starks, he won the Owen Hart Cup tournament last week by beating CM Punk. But the way that Ricky Starks beat CM Punk has some people questioning him, including Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone does an interview with Ricky Starks and asks the question that everyone's been talking about, which is, does it matter the way that Ricky Starks had to win this match? And honestly, it doesn't. And Ricky Starks explained this very, very well in this interview with Tony Schiavone. It's plain and simple. When you're in a match like that, especially versus someone like CM Punk, you're going to do anything and everything it takes to win. If it was anyone else in Ricky Starks' position, they would have done the same too. And then Punk comes out with no music, and even Punk admits that, hey, I'm not mad at you. Hell, everyone's cheated. CM Punk says, I have cheated. And Punk says, we'll just see if you can live with the fact that you had to cheat to beat me, because that's probably the only way that you could win versus me. And then walks off. Ricky Starks, while CM Punk is walking away, Ricky Starks mentions the red bag that CM Punk holds, which CM Punk hasn't really shown anyone what's really in that red bag, but I think we all know, and that's the AEW World Championship. CM Punk states that he never lost the championship and he's the real champion still. Of course, the current champion is MJF, who holds the Triple B, but Punk is still claiming to be the champion. So that comment Ricky Starks made about the red bag to CM Punk gets CM Punk all fired up, and CM Punk gets back in the ring and asks if he wants a shot at what's in the red bag. So it looks like Ricky Starks and CM Punk are starting this feud, and it's great. Ricky Starks is being put in the main event position versus someone like Punk, and Ricky Starks is carrying himself really well in this spot. Christian Cage and Luchasaurus come out, and they explain that the only reason they're out there is as TNT champions, they're obligated to show up and make an appearance. And then Darby Allin comes out, and the match for the main event is set. It's going to be Darby and CM Punk versus Christian and Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, before he faced CM Punk in the finals for the Owen Hart Cup tournament, was a babyface. He was teaming up with Punk and cutting babyface promos and getting cheered. But now he beat CM Punk by cheating, and now he's being teamed up with Christian. So Ricky Starks is going to be the heel in this situation, or in this potential feud versus CM Punk, which is going to be great because Ricky Starks, he's a great heel, and he proved it in this opening segment. El Idolo Andrade tries to show up and gets kicked out of the arena by security, and he's escorted out. There's some conflict there with Andrade and the House of Black. The House of Black still have Andrade's mask, and they got some beef going on, which we'll talk about more later on. Andrade wasn't left in the building because the House of Black, they have a match with the Acclaimed, and AEW officials just want to make sure that Andrade doesn't interfere and cause any ruckus. We have some tag team action. Darius Martin and Action Andretti versus the Bullet Club Gold. Now, Darius Martin, he's the brother of Dante Martin, who we haven't seen in a while because, unfortunately, he had a horrifying injury a few months back at Ring of Honor, and we haven't seen Dante Martin since. But Action Andretti steps in here to be the partner for Darius Martin, and the tag team of Darius and Andretti, it makes sense because they're two young high flyers, so they have similar wrestling styles. These two guys do. AEW tried to get Action Andretti over in a big way by putting him over Chris Jericho a few months back, but then after that victory, Action Andretti kind of disappeared off of TV, and he was getting booked in these random situations after that. So any potential momentum that Action Andretti had died down really quickly after that victory with Chris Jericho. Jay White ended up getting the pin for the Bullet Club Gold, and the Guns get some heat on the baby faces for good measure after the match. But the Bullet Club Gold, even though they lost versus FTR last week, they still looked really good. They won this match, and the Bullet Club Gold are big-time players in AEW, and they're a very, very good tag team to take seriously. Miro versus Nick Comoroto. Nick Comoroto, man, this guy, he has been in AEW since the beginning. Now, I remember when AEW first started, I would see him randomly here and there, but AEW never really did anything with him. But this guy has an impressive fucking look. He is a monster, and he's a good athlete. Nick Comoroto is one of the trainees of QT and QT Marshall's school, and this guy's just a beast. Like, I think if AEW really put a little bit more time into Nick Comoroto, can be a big time player in AEW, because he really stands out just by his presence and his look. So hopefully we get to see more of Nick Comoroto in Collision, because I think AEW has something good here with Nick Comoroto. This match versus Miro, it was short and sweet. Nick Comoroto, he got some good offense on Miro, but then Miro ended up getting the upper hand and submitted Nick Comoroto with the camel clutch. I really like this because both men are two big guys, and this match was pretty even. So both guys came out looking pretty good, and the right guy won in this match. We have a 6-man tag match, or a trios match, whatever you want to call it. House of Black versus The Acclaim. Max Caster, his rap mentioned something about goth chicks, referencing, of course, Rhea Ripley, the real girlfriend of Buddy Murphy, and Buddy Murphy jumpstarts the match on Max Caster, and you can hear Max Caster on the microphone just go, "Oh shit!" And Buddy, he's my favorite in this entire House of Black group. This guy's impressive, and he can go in the ring. The "Scissor Me Daddy" chants are no more in AEW. It seems like that died down already. They're not as loud anymore when it comes to the Acclaimed, unfortunately. The House of Black gets the win on Billy Gunn with a great-looking spinning kick by Malachi. Buddy Murphy and Malachi Black whisper something to Billy Gunn after the match, and it seemed like a little sign of respect, which I thought was kind of weird by the House of Black because they're super heels. But they broke character a little bit here for Billy Gunn, who then continued to remove his boots and left his boots in the middle of the ring, which in wrestling, of course, symbolizes retirement. So Billy Gunn is teasing that he might potentially retire, which of course the fans, they did not like seeing that because they were giving Billy Gunn the "you still got it" chance. The Acclaim was outside of the ring looking on, and they seem upset about this whole thing too. But Billy Gunn just walked away from the Acclaim, then he just walked away looking really upset. So is this the last match that we're going to see of Billy Gunn? Honestly, I don't think so. Especially in wrestling, you had people like Shawn Michaels, like Ric Flair, like Mick Foley, who've retired multiple times. The Undertaker, also one of those who ends up coming back for more. So this is the first time that I've seen Billy Gunn say or mention anything about retirement. So I don't think that this is the end for Billy Gunn. I also believe because of Billy Gunn's long history with WWE, I don't see Billy Gunn retiring in AEW. I believe if Billy Gunn's supposed to retire and get a decent farewell, it should be done in WWE. So I think Billy Gunn will go to WWE before retiring from wrestling completely. FTR, they had an interview with Tony Schiavone. They're going to be facing MJF and Adam Cole next week, July 27th on AEW Collision. And the interview with FTR, they're just as good as their matches. These guys, they cut a great promo. They know how to get a match over. They know how to get the crowd pumped up. And this was no different. You know, Cash Wheeler mentions that MJF, we all know him. Everyone knows how he is. And he mentioned the Pinnacle and the fact that MJF can't be trusted and he just turns on everyone. Dax also dropped some facts, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about on our last episode. When it comes to MJF, they're doing a whole lot of goofiness, a whole lot of comedy skits, a whole lot of funny haha. And Dax feels the same. He feels like they're making a joke out of the tag team division, which is something that FTR has fought hard for. To them, the tag team division in AEW, the tag team title belts, is something really, really serious to them. And they're not going to be out there doing comedy skits. FTR is not going to be out there having dance-offs. They're not out there to be funny or cute. They're out there to work hard and to make FTR the best tag team in the world, which I love to hear because that's exactly the opposite of what MJF and Adam Cole have been doing over there on Dynamite with their goofy skits and their funny business. And it's entertaining. The fans love it, but that's not what FTR is about, and I love to hear that. And that's, again, one of the reasons why FTR is one of the best tag teams in the world, because they don't fuck around. So great promo here by FTR. Sky Blue versus Taya Valkyrie. Taya Valkyrie, compared to Sky Blue, she's a veteran. Taya Valkyrie is bigger, she's stronger, and she's just a better wrestler overall compared to Sky Blue. Taya Valkyrie ends up winning and cuts a promo on Britt, so we might get a match between those two women, which I believe should be really good. The main events, the tag team match between Ricky Starks and Christian versus Punk and Darby Allin. And this is an interesting pair with Ricky Starks and Christian. I wasn't sure how this was going to play out, but it turned out to be really, really good. These four men had a great match. A lot more CM Punk chants in this arena. I'm not sure what city they were in, but usually the fans are divided, and as of late, it seems like more people have been booing CM Punk, but here, this was CM Punk town. During the match, we had some breaking news, and it was announced that Andrade is going to face Buddy in a ladder match next week on AEW Collision. I really enjoyed this match. I haven't seen Christian wrestle in a really long time. I think the last time we saw Christian wrestle was versus Jungle Boy, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, we all know that Luchasaurus technically won the TNT Championship that Christian very proudly carries around. And Christian and Ricky Starks worked really well together in this match. And man, this was such a great match. Even Darby Allin too. Darby Allin did really well. That guy's a crazy motherfucker, man. He was doing some insane bumps like usual. Typical Darby Allin stuff. And Ricky Starks steals a win again by holding the ropes on Darby Allin, just like he did last week versus CM Punk. So Ricky Starks gets another one over on Punk in a classic heelish way. So everything about this was just great. The odd pairing with Ricky Starks and Christian worked really well. The match was great, and the finish was perfect. So I'm sure next week we're going to see a very, very pissed off Punk and a very, very cocky Ricky Starks, which should make for some good shit. Of course, next week there's also going to be the ladder match. The tag team championships are going to be defended, and it should be another good episode of Collision. So Collision, again, the better show in AEW, and is just continuing to blow Dynamite out the water. Even with all the craziness that they had on Dynamite with blood and guts, I still enjoyed this Collision a lot more, and I hope Collision can keep this up. So until next week, we have Monday Night Raw, NXT, and so much more to talk about next week. Be sure to hit me up on my socials at Snug Wrestling. We will talk to you guys soon.